Hey friends, Peggy Hall here from thehealthyamerican.org. How's that for a headline grabber? 20 ways to prepare for the coming collapse. I can barely get the words out because you know that I am all about possibilities and solutions and strategies and resources and remedies. And I don't want to throw you in the spin cycle and leave you out to dry, but I had to come back late this Sunday evening because one of my lovely Healthy Americans just sent me the link to the Consumer Price Index news, and I want to share that with you. And because we're talking about the economy and inflation and being prepared, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video. We are going to go right on over to preparewithpeggy.com. This is something that I've been telling you about for nearly 2 years. These are products that I use, that I have, and that I promote because I believe in them. And right now they have special pricing on my 2 favorite food kits. Everybody in my family has one of these buckets. You can grab and go. You can keep one in your car. I'm going to be talking about how to prepare your car as well. And frankly, this is not the kind of food that I eat on an everyday basis. I don't eat pancakes and macaroni and cheese and rice and chili. But if I'm starving, and this is the difference between me staying alive for 3 months until something blows over or something else changes, for me, this is peace of mind. In fact, I just wanted to let you know the message that the sponsor has, which is temperatures are not the only thing rising. Gasoline prices, food prices, tensions throughout society, global conflicts, supply chain breakdowns, you name it. And experts say that the looming food crisis is going to be worse than any year since World War II. So what you should do is preparewithpeggy.com. I just showed you that website. You get your long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. It puts a smile on my face because I know that I am safe when it comes to food. I'm about to tell you 20 things that I think are among the most important things to do for your preparation. But this food storage lasts for 25 years, or the food lasts for 25 years in storage. When you need it, it will be there. So if you act quickly, you're going to save $150. You get breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks totaling over 2,000 calories per day. That's going to keep me fine. I'm on a little bit of a diet right now, so I'm under that. But you won't go hungry when you have emergency food. So what I want to do, friends, is let's talk a little bit about prepping. And I did a live just a little bit ago about what's going on with Newsom and all of the other public serpents and lawbreakers. And there were so many of you online that I decided to come back because I really want your opinion on this. I want to know, number one, are you a prepper? Do you consider yourself an amateur, a moderate, an expert? I'm sort of in the moderate. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have been prepping for many years. And there are excellent books on the subject, a lot of great YouTube channels. I actually have a program called Panic Free Prepping that my buddy Eric DeLeo taught with me live, and you can get that class. What I want to do is talk about some of those highlights. But before I do, I'm going to take you right on over to the Consumer Price Index. This is astounding. Let me know in a comment below, how much do you think fuel has increased in the past year? Let's do fuel. Let me take off the share for a moment and I will double check to see what we have. We're going to check on fuel prices, on food prices, and then why don't we do those two? Those are, I think, the most important on our minds. How much do you think food has increased in a percent over the last year? And how that would be ending May 2022. How much do you think fuel has increased in the last 12 months? So from May of 2021 to May of 2022. Let me know in a comment below. Thanks for being on board, friends. Always love seeing you here. Hey, Valerie, I know I kind of caught you off guard. Thank you for being my moderator today. And what I want to tell you are these important things that I do and that I hope you will do as well. And first, we're going to look at the Consumer Price Index. So we're going to hop right on over there. And if you said that food, here we have it, food increased, it says 8.6%. Now, I frankly don't go to the grocery store very much. That's because I already am prepared. I've been preparing for some time. My husband, Pastor David, does go to get, chicken, and we get eggs locally at local farms and so forth. I really don't go to grocery stores very much. So we're going to be talking about bartering in that in just a moment. But that is, if you've been shopping, that's probably no surprise to you. Let's take a look at Fuel has gone 106.7% increase. It's astonishing. I believe that they are going to push this fuel price over $10. And I believe that's going to happen this summer. And I believe it's going to happen because, number one, they want to control our travel. That's why they required all of the Halloween stuff on the plane, and you had to have nasal assault, you had to be a human pincushion. It was not so much in my mind that they cared about health and safety. They cared about restricting the movement, the free movement of Americans. We're free. We have the right to go anywhere we want. And the increase in fuel oil, I believe, is to restrict movement and to push people toward electric cars. I'm going to be talking more about that. There was a great story that I read about a woman that took a road trip in an electric car. And boy, oh boy, wait until you hear what she went through. It very much restricts your movement. And there are so many other things to consider related to electric vehicles, which I'll do in a video coming up. So commodities, let's see, what were some of the big ones? Utility gas service went up 30%. Let's see, energy commodities, here it says 50%, and food at home, this is interesting. I was giving you the wrong number, friends. I was getting so excited. 8.6 says all items. Food has gone up 10% at home, and in restaurants or grocery stores, I guess that's what that means, 11.9%. That's just reprehensible. Let's see what some of the other large ones were. Used cars and trucks have gone up. Many people have said that I have a used car. My car is 17 years old. I don't plan on replacing it. I love my car. I don't want all of those computerized tracking gadgets in my car. I just like how it is fine. I keep repairing it, and that is good for me. So I'm not worried about. New vehicles went up 12.6. Used went up 16.1. Apparel, clothing went up 5%. Medical care commodities only 2.4%. I wonder if that's accurate. Transportation services, 7.9. Shelter, meaning where you live, 5.5%. Let me know if these, did you anticipate it? Tiny ways to prepare for the coming collapse. It prepared. So I've got my 20. I want to hear what you have. Oh, hopefully you guys can still hear me. Is YouTube fiddling with my video again? I hope not. All right, let me get through this. Number one, you need water. You need water, and you need water purifying equipment. So you need the life straw, or you need other ways to purify that water. You've got to have enough water. I've got water all stocked up in, well, I'm not going to tell you where it is, but I have those big, I think they're 20-gallon containers. You want to think about water being easily stored, and it should last forever. I would not store it, obviously you want to store it in containers that don't have BPA and all of that, but you also want to think about having enough water that you can pick up, grab and go. I can't really grab like a 20-gallon container. That's going to be very heavy, or maybe even a 5-gallon container. I can grab a gallon container, and I do have some gallon containers in my car. So have your water prepared in different amounts. You want to have food. I just talked about having long-term food storage, which is grab and go. It lasts for 25 years. I also prepare with your regular staples. So this is food that I normally don't eat, but I have a lot of pasta. I have gluten-free pasta. I have rice. I have canned beans. I have dried beans. I have pasta sauce. I have all manner of things in jars like artichokes and olives. And I do like that kind of stuff. And then I personally don't like I don't have a lot of sugar and flour and that kind of thing, but I have sugar and flour on hand as barter items, and that is coming up in just a moment. So you can buy normal things at the grocery store. You can get your beans, your rice, your dried beans, canned food if you want that. It already has the water in it. Keep in mind that all of the dried foods will take some of your water. So you have to keep, think about that, where the canned foods already have the water in it. You just need a can opener. So I have all manner of canned vegetables. I have canned fruit. I have jams and jellies. And some of these things, again, could be barter items. I have dehydrated foods that last for a long, long time, like dehydrated peanut butter. I do have peanut butter and honey. I stock up on a lot of honey because honey never goes bad. You can use that forever, and it's a great source of energy. It is good for medicinal healing and cuts and scrapes and all sorts of things. So my husband's so funny. He's like, oh my gosh, if the collapse happens, we're going to be living on honey. And I happen to love honey. I've got dried fruit. And then you need to rotate all of that food out. So we recently went through some of our pastas and things. And I realized also I made a mistake. I bought some pastas that were in a cardboard package. That is not bug proof. And we had to toss out a lot of the pasta because little mealybugs got in through the gaps in that cardboard container. So what you could do if you wanted, you could buy the cardboard container, you could even buy the plastic ones. And then we have a vacuum sealer. So then you can take it out of that package that you bought it in, and then you vacuum seal it, get rid of all of the oxygen, and then that should be bug proof. You have to go through your food, go through your water, make sure that you have your stores and of supplies and that you go through them frequently. Okay, so that was only number 2, food and water. And with water, I put in water purification. You want to have seeds. Okay, so seeds last for a long time. I have a stockpile of seeds. You can still get them. I like the organic. I like the heirloom. This can also become what I'm going to talk about, number 4, barter items. You may say, Peggy, I don't have a place to grow anything. I'm going to need to rely on farmers and other people. Seeds are going to be a great barter item. You could trade that with someone else. So have items on hand that you could barter with. I don't smoke, and I don't actually have this as a barter item, but a lot of the preppers will say that cigarettes are a great thing to have on hand. Coffee, sugar, cosmetics for women, any kind of medicine like aspirin or Advil, Band-Aids, any kind of stuff like that that you could swap, because I believe that we already are moving toward a barter system. What say you? Do you do any trades with friends? Do you exchange services or items, and there's no money involved? That to me is one of the best ways to do that. Now, in order to do that, you need to have a community. So that's another part of being prepared. You want to identify your community. Here at the Healthy American, you guys are connecting with each other online. And we also have events at our monthly beach church, which is the first Sunday of every month. And I want you to come there and join us, and you can meet people there. So find your community, whether online, take those things offline. It's great to meet other people at events, at rallies, all of that. Let me know in a comment below how you find your community. All right, so we talked about food, water and water purification, seeds, barter items, and community. Let's talk about fuel. You need fuel. You may need fuel to burn in your fire to keep yourself warm. You may need cooking fuel. You may need propane. You may need fuel for your car. You may need gasoline for your car. Now, fuel can be stored, and oil for your car can be stored. And also make sure that you are not driving around. You're not driving around on a quarter of a tank. I know it's very expensive. I can only go to half a tank because the gas station won't take my money for as much as it costs to fill my tank. So right now it's about $100 for me to fill half a tank, and it cuts it off at that range. So I'm always driving around with no less than half a tank. It's a great habit to get into. So make sure that you don't leave yourself caught off guard. If there's some kind of event and they turn off the electricity, guess what? You can't get gas because that's all run on electricity. Okay. The next thing is you want to have clothes. I have stocked up on a lot of clothes. I have plenty of sweaters, of jeans, of socks and shoes. I have done this over the years, and it's kind of funny because you can look in my closet and it's like, wow, you've got 4 pairs of exactly the same shoes. It's like, yes, because I like them. And plus, when you buy things in advance, they're cheaper. The shoes that I bought 4 years ago, I saved money over inflation buying them now. So if you have not practiced that approach, I recommend you consider it. And I have plenty of socks and underwear and shoes. Oh my gosh, I have so many jackets. I don't even really live in a cold climate. I have beanies, I have hoodies, I have gloves, I have scarves. That can also be barter items. And who knows, I may need to hightail it to Durango, Colorado or something, although I heard they were super shut down in, the, what, the fake, oh, can I even say that word? Oh, no, I wasn't talking. I was just a joke. Okay. Have to be so careful here. All right. It's very important that you get healthy. You need to be healthy physically. You need to be physically fit. You need to be able to walk distances, break in and break out those shoes. Hubby and I walk every day. And I haven't gotten to the point where I carry a backpack, but that's not a bad idea either. And it may be something like this, where your car runs out of gas and you have to walk 8 miles to get home. So that leads me to my next thing, is you want to have what I call a get home bag. And that is a backpack in your car, or if you ride the train or the bus or something, you should have these items on you. I live in sunny Southern California. Well, it's sunny when they're not spraying all those chemicals in the air. So it's pretty much hazy California. And I live in sort of summery clothes, and I walk around with sandals and sundresses and that kind of stuff. I could not walk home in a pair of sandals. That would not work. So I have in my get home bag, I have 2 pairs of shoes. I have boots in case it's raining. And my get home bag is kind of in the trunk of my car, but I do have a backpack and I can pack it if I needed to, depending on what I needed. So I've got all of my clothes. I've got a pair of jeans. I've got a hoodie. I've got a beanie. I've got a baseball cap. I've got gloves. I've got a flashlight. I've got matches. Oh, if you want to know everything I have, I actually go in great detail. And I think I give you a list in my, it's called Panic Free Prepping. And that is over at thehealthyamerican.org. A lot of you got this course for free when you signed up for that bundle that we did earlier this year. I don't know if we're going to be doing that again, but maybe we are. So let me, okay, here we are. Under resources, if you go to Panic Free Prepping, you'll see the course that I have. Yes, that's when I had short hair. And in this class, so it's a little bit more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and you are going to get everything that I'm talking about. And here is a little intro video. I think I have another intro video. Anyhow, if you're interested, that's where you can go if you want to get everything that I have in my get home bag, also known as a go bag. Have that on hand. I've got water that's in little bags. I've got nutrition bars. I've got all sorts of things that would help me get home if my car ran out of gas, if they closed the roads, if there was some other hogwash that they were sloshing all over us. And it gives me peace of mind. So I don't worry about being far from home when I've got my get home bag. All right, the next thing is you want to have small coins. And I'm not talking about investing in 24 ounces of gold. I'm talking about having nickels and dimes and pennies and quarters, maybe silver dollars, because it may be down the road that if you're bartering and you want to get that bar of chocolate and you only have like a bar of gold, you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to exchange that bar of gold for that bar of chocolate? What are you going to do with a bar of gold? It's not going to get you too far. So if you have coins, small coins and small silver coins, if you can find those old dimes that were 100% silver, that may not even be necessary. But the purpose of what I'm explaining is that having small units of money, even dollar bills, in my view, just logically, it seems like it would make more sense. If I needed to get a dozen eggs from my neighbor and I was bartering, a cup of sugar, and she's like, well, if you can throw in a couple bucks, it would be like, okay, I have a couple bucks. But what if I only have a 20? That's not going to work either. So I think having actual coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and having small bills, dollar bills, $5 bills, who knows, maybe when the collapse happens, $100 bill will be like a dollar bill, who knows. All right, the next thing is you need to have, if you take medicine, you need to have medicine. And I think it's a good idea to have medicine as a barter item. I remember it was about 5 or 6 years ago, I broke my foot. And the doctor wanted to give me a prescription for a painkiller, like a narcotic painkiller. And I didn't want to take the prescription because I don't take drugs. And I remember my mom, who was an RN, and she said, sweetheart, always get your prescriptions filled. All right. Repeat after me. Always get your prescriptions filled. She said, you don't know when you might need that painkiller. You may not need it now. You may have some other injury or accident and you can't get to the doctor, or you run out of the painkillers they gave you. Always fill your prescriptions. Now, I'm not talking about statins and high blood pressure and diabetes medicine. I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving you any medical advice, but I recommend that you get yourself a good book about natural healing, maybe even herbal remedies. And that's a next thing on my list, is to have books, actual books, because this internet thingy that I'm broadcasting to you on may not be around. I have books on herbs. I have books on farming. I have books on how to fix things. And that leads me to my next thing. You need to have tools, and you need to have tools, and you need to have, so that's one item. And then you also need, and that's a great bartering item as well, but you need all the basic tools. And, you know, all you guys out there, you already probably have more tools than you ever need. And so keeping them in good condition, making sure that they're the ones that you need, I think is very, very important. Another item, maybe for us ladies, is you need to have sewing notions. You need to have thread. You need to have enough needles. You need to have maybe a little magnifying glass if you can't get that thread through the needle. And you need to have pins, and you need to have fabric, and you need to have ways to sew things. So it may be that all of these socks that I bought in advance are going to wear out. I'm going to need to be able to repair them. So that's something to have as well. All right. The next thing is, and these are in no particular order. The next thing is protection, personal protection. And I think you know what I'm talking about. Some people like the bang bangs, others like sort of the old Indian style, right? The bow and arrow. Other people have other things that they do. So it's very important for you to have some type of personal protection and to know how to use that personal protection. It's not enough to just go get it. You need to be trained. You need to understand it, which is why when I see all of those orchestrated hogwash events sloshed all over the front page, and I don't even watch the news, but you can't help but hear about it. I did a video called How to Watch the News. And one of the telltale signs for me is it's nearly impossible for someone who has never handled a bang bang to be able to be so proficient at it, especially in a high stress situation. Doesn't pass the smell test, my friends. All right. Speaking of protection, another item on my list of 20, and I hope you're adding them all up, would be self-protection. So learn about, like self-defense is more what I mean. I've taken self-defense classes. One of the most important things for me was learning about situational awareness. It actually saved my life. I'll tell you about that one day. And I don't know if it kept me out of harm's way. Let me say it that way. And I will tell you what happened in an upcoming video. So you can learn that online. They've got videos. You can go to a class. Again, you can get a book. All right. We talked about community, tools, sewing. You also want to have some type of home security. The idea is that when the hit hits the fan, and people start to run out of food and they start to go wacko. And I think a lot of people are already losing their minds, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're getting some kind of brain damage. And they see that you're sitting pretty. They may come knocking at your door and want to have what you have. And there may be the kind-hearted neighbors that are in your community. Remember, you need to create a community that you trust. It should be a small group so that there are no infiltrators. Again, we go into great detail in this on the online class, but there may be some, roaming gangs coming around. So just thinking about home security, it's a topic unto itself. Maybe I'll cover that in another video. You want to have lights, you want to have some sort of, plants that people can't get, that will serve as a barrier if they want to get into your window. There's all sorts of things, but start to think about home security, cameras, and so forth. All right. Now, here's a couple of things I don't think people think about that much. So let me close with these. All right. Write down all of the phone numbers off of your cell phone. Get them off your cell phone and write them down on a sheet of paper. In fact, you want to have lots of paper and pens because that's how you may have to start communicating with people. You're not going to leave them a text message. You're going to go to their house and you're going to pin a little message somewhere. So get all of the phone numbers, all of the physical addresses off your phone. And that leads me to another one, which is to have a plan. With your loved ones and with your community, you need to have a plan as to where you're going to go, what you're going to do, how you're going to communicate. And again, that takes another class to go into, but just start thinking about that. And would your family members know how to get in touch with you if suddenly there was a disaster, maybe even a bona fide disaster? And where would you meet? All right, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is something I don't hear mention too much on the prepping channels, but I think it's very, very important. And that is, you want to get a bicycle. Yes, a bicycle with the wheels and handlebars. And I'm not talking, well, I guess you could get an electric bike. I don't know how those are charged. That might be a great idea, by the way. I know a lot of surfers have electric bikes because it helps them get down to the surf break faster, carrying a surfboard on their bike. But a bicycle, you will be able to get places that you can't get to in your car. You can go on roads that cars can't go on. You can go without gas. You may need to go get something somewhere, find something, get a message to someone. Maybe you have a horse. I did want to mention, oh, that was the last one, animals. You want to make sure that you have plans for your animals. You want to make sure that you're not going to abandon them, that they're not going to be left hungry, that you have enough food for them. And oh my gosh, when all of this started happening a couple of years ago, and I was tearing up my Costco card. Yes, I call it Costco. That's my Japanese friend says it that way. That's how it's pronounced. And actually, it was right when they were getting really shady. And I thought, I am going to stock up on some items that I actually like from that store. And I will have them in advance. And do you know, I still have not, I got giant coconut oil canisters, and I got 50-pound bags of dog food that I'm using as emergency, just like that emergency food storage over at preparewithpeggy.com. That's where you can get that emergency food storage. And I have that for my animals. I have it in reserve, and I'm not using that. I actually feed them a very healthy diet, but you need to consider their food as well. So I want to see what you have to say, friends. Those were my 20 ways to prepare for the coming collapse. And I love what you've got going here. Oh yes, somebody mentioned a generator. I do have a generator. That is a great thing if you can afford it. It does make a lot of noise, and it may be, maybe not in the beginning, like if the lights go out and you're running your generator, but 4-6 weeks into things, your neighbors hear a generator going, they're going to think that you have fresh food. I'm just saying. So, let's see what else you've got. All right, people are making connections. I love this. Lizzie's been preparing. She started to prepare her food in 2019. She had her discernment that told her to do so. Proud American says, wherever I go, my cats go, and so does my gecko. I love that. Quantitative says that gated neighborhoods with, whoops, I don't know if I can say that online, with prepared civilians may be best in the urban areas. And okay, I love your comments here, friends. Really great. Chris got a raised garden bed in to grow vegetables. Love that. And Southern Gal said, get a solar power radio for an emergency. I have all sorts of flashlights. I have solar powered for my phone. I have solar powered for the flashlights and other batteries. So I think it is good to start thinking about this without panicking. That's why my course is called Panic-Free Prepping. I don't want to put you in a spin cycle. Actually enjoy this. Let me know in a comment below. Do you like being prepared? Doesn't it give you peace of mind? Don't you feel better knowing that you're not going to be caught off guard? Margie says, have a book with recipes for food and medicine. Michael might cross into Mexico or Canada. Tell me why Canada, Michael. That doesn't sound too appealing to me these days. Mexico sounds pretty good, actually. They sound pretty darn good. All right. So friends, thank you so much for all of your comments. I just wanted to come to you late this afternoon when a Healthy American sent me that article. So I've been talking about preparing your food for a long time. Even if you just have it on hand, you've saved money. I think the food prices are still going to go up. What do you think? I think I might bring a video coming up about saving money on gas. It's kind of controversial. I'll see if I can fly under the radar and get it to you. And I will be back with you tomorrow, which is Monday, starting at 5 p.m. with some live streams. Can't wait to see you then, everybody. Thank you for being on board here, always over at thehealthyamerican.org and on all social media. So I'll see you in the very next broadcast.